You know, you do hold and you breathe through one and you hold it and then you exhale through the other and you keep going. And you keep going. And you keep going. It is very relaxing. Have you tried that? Alternate nostril breathing. Have you tried that? It is very relaxing.
If you thought Hillary was acting weird before the election, she's just turned it up to 11.
It is very relaxing.
According to Dr. Robert Hare, Professor of Psychology at the University of British Columbia, one of the defining traits of a psychopath is a failure to accept responsibility for one's actions. According to Dr. Seth Myers, a clinical psychologist with the LA County Department of Mental Health, one of the defining traits of a sociopath is that they tend to blame others for their own failures. Yeah, who does that remind you of?
Why aren't I 50 points ahead, you might ask? Well,
how many people and things, apart from herself, has Hillary blamed for losing? Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Russia.
Russian, Putin, the Russians, Russia, the Kremlin, the Russians, Putin, Russia.
Bernie Sanders voters, James Comey, the media, WikiLeaks, sexism, fake news, husbands, white people.
millions of white people. Yeah, millions of white people.
The Daily Mail compiled 41 different things or people she blamed in her book. Classic sociopath behaviour. As forensic psychologist Armando Simon notes, she has blamed everything and everyone, except herself, or her serial rapist husband. This is very typical of a sociopath. She is a true, certifiable sociopath.
I had not drafted a concession speech.
Yeah, that's why you didn't concede on the night of the election, isn't it, Hillary? It isn't actually that you got completely shit-faced drunk to soothe your butt hurt, started throwing things at people, and refused to do it. Oh, but you kept going after the election and you didn't get depressed. That's why you started doing bizarre things with your nostrils and disappeared into the woods for days on end.
I feel like I'm a bit of a, Paula Revere.
Yeah, Paul Revere warned that foreign invaders were on their way to attack. He didn't invite them to fundraising galas like you did, Hillary. He didn't sell them a huge chunk of America's uranium supply like you did. He didn't take vast amounts of money from them to give speeches like your husband did. She thinks the media was against her during the election and wanted to make voodoo dolls of reporters and stick pins in them.
I thought something like this might happen. That's why I prepared for it.
What are you talking about?
Your own personal mojo, Doc.
The media was unfair to Hillary. What? What? You think we didn't read the Podesta emails? You had journalists getting approval for their stories from your campaign before they were published. You had CNN contributors handing you the debate questions in advance. They were putting out polls saying you had a 98% chance of winning. 91% of the media coverage in the final weeks of the election was negative towards Trump. What in God's name are you talking about?
Like an out-of-body experience.
She claimed George Orwell's 1984 was a lesson in how people needed to trust authority. Yeah, that actually happened. What level of self-delusion do you have to be living under to think that a book that is purely about an authoritarian behemoth crushing the individual is actually about the need to trust authority?
If they were, responding on a YouTube comment chain or on Twitter to something, they were just attacked, and the attacks were so sexist.
Oh, cry me a fucking river. The fuck are you on about? YouTube comments? Now you're whining about YouTube comments. Get over it. She even refused to take the blame for words that came out of her own mouth.
You could put half of Trump supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables.
But you offended some people who didn't personally feel deplorable at all.
I don't buy that. Got to understand what Putin's strategy is. He really doesn't like democracy. He thinks it's an inconvenient, messy process.
Yeah, you just love democracy, Hillary, don't you? That'll be why you had your girlfriend, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and the DNC deliberately sabotage Bernie Sanders' campaign and rig the primaries, because you care so much about democracy. What's wrong with Hillary? she's a sociopath. And no, I'm not just saying that as an insult. She's literally a sociopath. She's a sociopathic, pathological liar. She lies when she doesn't even have to. This is the woman who claims she was named after Sir Edmund Hillary, the first person to climb Mount Everest. Yeah, one problem with that, Sir Edmund Hillary climbed Mount Everest 6 years after Hillary was born in 1947, at which point no one even knew who he was. Hillary Clinton is completely nuts. She's infamous for having raging tantrums over nothing. People literally hide in rooms to avoid her. Don't forget, this is the woman who basically said she was staying in the 2008 presidential race in case Obama got assassinated. This is a woman who laughed about getting a child rapist off the hook.
Took a lie detector test. I had to take a polygraph, which he passed, which forever destroyed my faith in polygraphs.
And the only fault she acknowledges in her book is not communicating her message better. Like, if she'd just have communicated better, people would have liked her. Nobody likes you. You're fundamentally unlikable. You're detestable. You barely even manage to come across as human. Even the Huffington Post says what happened reads like a, quote, self-care book written by a serial killer. This is not a well woman. But then again, what do you expect from someone who, according to Oxford University, has a bigger psychopathic personality than Nero? And the greed. Oh, the sickening, endless greed. A $14 million advance on your previous book, a $20 million advance on this one. And you still charge people over $2,000 for a front row seat and a picture. Listen, I know you've got to pay off that mansion you bought next to the White House, having bought it before the election, assuming you'd be coronated because you're a narcissistic, arrogant piece of shit. But how much fucking money does one person need?
A lot of people have said, oh, boy, I wish Hillary Clinton would just go away.
Yeah.
Just go away.
Well, you know, if they'd take up a collection and send me somewhere really nice.
Shit, someone set up a GoFundMe, quick! The New York Times reported the long road to a Clinton exit. 9 years ago, and she's still here. Even her own fundraisers are telling her to shut the fuck up and go away because she's harming the Democratic Party's chances in 2018. Politico reports that all this anti-Trump hysteria, which originated with Hillary crafting the Russian collusion narrative, isn't working. 2018 key swing state voters don't care. If you're a Trump supporter, you shouldn't want Hillary to shut up. You should want her to stick around. Her sociopathic insanity keeps reminding people why Trump won in the first place, increasing his chances of winning again in 2020. Hillary Clinton is like herpes. Herpes Hillary. She's painful, embarrassing, and she won't go away. And for Trump supporters, that's a good thing. But for the good of the country, should we really allow a deranged sociopath whose decisions have led to death and destruction across the world to remain at large?
We came, we saw, he died.
A woman who's never accomplished anything besides spreading misery throughout the globe. Someone who's in control of a powerful criminal enterprise known as the Clinton Foundation. Or should we step up pressure on Trump to keep the promise he made before the election?
Because you'd be in jail.
Please click the big red button to subscribe. It really helps me when you do that. And click the bell to allow notifications so you never miss a new video.